You're watching Ladies in the Locker Room. We'll be right back. Hey, what's going on, everybody? You know what? I just thought about. I need to make sure I have some sound going on here. And I don't know that I do. So hold that thought, and I'll be right back. All right, testing, testing. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And we are back. We are live with Ladies in the Locker Room. First of all, thank you for joining us tonight on Ladies in the Locker Room 2022. Ladies in the Locker Room is an all-female sports talk show, and we are 12 years old. And I think I may even have that wrong. It may be a little bit more than that, but we've been around talking about sports for a long time. Ladies in the Locker Room is a labor of love of my own. It's a combination of my two loves, my love for sports and my love for media. So what I did is I married the two and created Ladies in the Locker Room. Ladies in the Locker Room is a platform that allows women of all nationalities to come on board and talk about sports, just all sports, not women's sports, but all sports, from the NFL to the NBA to the soccer to kickboxing to pro wrestling to WWE, you name it. Ladies in the Locker Room is there and looking to have a conversation about it. So tonight, we're going to talk about, of course, a few things, starting with the Pro Bowl, which I was there this weekend, and it was pretty awesome, I have to say, and also the Super Bowl. We're going to be talking about the teams, who's coming up, and who do you want to win. And hey, I see I've got Oscar Jones on here tonight. Oscar, give me a thumbs up again. Let me know that you can hear me because I wasn't sure if I was coming through. So thanks for joining in. Oscar is a fan of Ladies in the Locker Room, and I really appreciate that. And he's always ready to chime in and tell us exactly what it is that he wants to talk about in sports. Now, Oscar, if you like, I can pull you on. Let me know if you want to come on live and have a sit down with me tonight. As you can see, I'm solo dolo again, but I do have a special guest coming on a little bit later. His name is Russell Kaye from Music Dreams Radio USA. Now, Russell's another one. Russell and I can get together and we can talk about everything sports, and we definitely go at it. Russell's going to be joining us in a little while, and we're just going to be, talking about the big game coming up, who's going to win, who's going to lose, and we're also going to be talking about who we thought was going to the Super Bowl but didn't go, and the state of the NFL. There's a lot been going on in the NFL, from racism to cheating. There are a few things we want to talk about that tonight also. So, like I said, Oscar, if you'd like to join me, just hit me up with a yes and your email address, and I will send you a link and you can log on and have a chat with us tonight. Like I said, we've got some serious stuff going on in the NFL and the NBA. The NBA, of course, is getting ready for All-Star Weekend, which is going to be in Chi-Town. It's going to be cold out there, but if you've ever gone to an NBA All-Star Weekend, it's usually a fun time, even if it is going to be cold. So we'll see what happens. I don't know if Ladies in the Locker Room is going to make it to Chi-Town this year, but we're certainly going to check it out. Uh, the other things that we're going to be talking about, of course, is the Olympics. The Olympics is going on. There's been a hold up on some medals. There's already been some cheating and some other stuff going on. So we're going to talk about those things as well. I don't know if those of you that are keeping up with the Winter Olympics, but it is going on right now. And for some reason, you've got some teams that are all the Russians. I think they said it was who they were not. I got to get my story straight. But yeah, the Windy City Oscar. It is the Windy City, but they are holding up some already holding up some medals that should have already been passed out, and of course in in the skiing, the women's, we've got some gold. I think we got our first gold really just the other day, but America is always in there, to compete, and we'll see what happens and how many gold, silver, how many medals we walk away with. The Olympics is a major, major deal around the world. And that's what I like about the Olympics is it does bring talent from around the world together to compete. In the United States, we've got our set players in the NBA that we love, and we end up putting them together and we call them the dream team. And we send them, to the Olympics to go and compete against other countries who have teams. Speaking of other countries with teams, we got to watch out for Africa. The continent of Africa, they have their own brand of the NBA. And I want to say Matumbo had a lot to do with that. Matumbo was very involved with getting that off the ground. And, a lot of talent has come out of Africa. And I think by doing this, they are going to be able to reach a lot more. Because now they are not only in one country of Africa, they're pulling together teams from different countries within Africa. We're talking about a continent here, so they're pulling together different teams within the continent of Africa and created their own kind of NBA over there, which I guess you'll understand what I'm getting ready to say is because when the Olympics comes around again, Africa is going to have their own dream team. Trust and understand. There's going to be some more Mutombos and some more Manute Bowls. Speaking of Manute Bowl, his son is in the NBA. So there's going to be some more African All-Stars to come up out of NBA Africa. And that's why it was put together, to give them a chance to continue to develop some of the talent over there and continue to um, help the continent of Africa and the young players over there make it to the US to play, of course, their big dream in the NBA one day. So I think that was a really, really awesome, awesome thing to do. And of course, you have Americans who are playing basketball all around the country. My son, who plays basketball, or he kind of retired now, but he has several friends playing in different countries because they didn't get into the NBA. So they're playing for other countries like Peru and Panama. They're in other countries where they are playing basketball for those countries. And it just always, I always get confused. I said, now when the Olympics come, same thing happens here. We have foreign players that play in America, but when the Olympics come, if they want to go back to their country and play for their country, even though they are a player here in the U.S., in the NBA. And same thing I'm wondering about our guys playing over in Panama and Peru and, the other, I want to say basketball leagues around the world. When it comes down to the Olympics, I'm wondering, are they really, really, playing it fair? Will they go back and play for their country, or will they stay here and play for the U.S.? Because at this point, they are playing for the United States in the NBA. I keep wanting to say the NFL. You know why I want to say the NFL? Because it is football season, and because there's so much going on right now in LA. There's a lot going on. I don't know if you guys know, but I want to say Super Bowl started yesterday. The teams land in the hosting city. They land in that hosting city that Monday, which was yesterday. and they've already started with the meetings. They've already started with, the different press situations. So those teams are there and they're already ready to get started. So it doesn't just happen on Sunday. You may see it on Sunday, but it doesn't just happen on Sunday. It started today. Then there's a lot going on. We're going to take a commercial break and we'll be right back. And like I said, coming up later on today, we've got Russell Kaye coming in from Music Dream Radio USA. And Russell always has a lot to say. We'll be right back.
Hello, guys. My name is Gloria. I am an instructor at LA Fitness Atlantic Station. I teach Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and on Saturdays we hike. We go to a different location. Our classes are 5:45 at Atlantic Station. There's kickboxing, there's body work, there's power circuit, everything you can imagine. And then we hike. We hike Kennesaw, Stone Mountain, the Palisades. We go everywhere. Come out and join us. Find out what your mission is and have fun while you do it. You can find me on Facebook, Gloria Jackson, and I want you to have fun while you get fit. Come join me.
So we're going to start out talking about Brian Flores. As you all know, Brian Flores, who was a coach in the NFL, has charged the Miami Dolphins and the New York Giants and a few other people with cheating, lying, misconduct, and a few other things. Brian Flores, is saying a lot. We're going to be joined right now by Russell Kaye. So Russell can chime in with us on this very, very topic. Hey, what's going on, Russell? Welcome to Ladies in the Locker Room.
Hey, Miss Hetty, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Just living the dream. Thanks so much for having us again. And it seems like every month we're doing the show together, right?
That's okay with me. That's okay with me. You and I have a lot to talk about. So I just opened up the conversation about Brian Flores, the former head coach of the Miami Dolphins, and now I guess getting ready to be blackballed by the NFL, which he has made some accusations against that team. He was offered $100,000 to lose games, which of course, if you're a losing coach and that team lets you go, not too many people are going to want to hire you. So of course it makes him look bad, but they offered him, his allegations are that the owner offered him $100,000 per game he lost so that they could try to get a better draft pick. Now, what are your thoughts about that, Russell?
Totally unacceptable. First of all, just like the NFL needs to go back and look at the overtime rule, they also need to go back and look at the diversity rule in the NFL and make it an even playing field for everyone. It doesn't matter who you are, what color you are. It doesn't matter. If you're qualified to do the job, then you should be hired. And Roger Goodell, during the Super Bowl press conference, he has admitted that the NFL, it's definitely an area of opportunity for the NFL. And it's definitely something that they need to look at, and they need to get better. It's not acceptable in his words. But first of all, the Miami Dolphins should have never got rid of Brian Flores. I mean,
there's no reason.
If you look at last season, right? Miami is one of the hottest teams in the NFL. They just missed the playoffs by one game, and you're going to fire a guy because look, that team was
turn that team around,
right? And so, totally unacceptable. There's a lot of good black coaches out there, black, white, it doesn't matter. There's a lot of good talent out there. And it's definitely something the NFL needs to look at, as well as the overtime, the overtime session too. That's something. If you looked at the Buffalo Kansas City game, that game was going back and forth. And what a shame, what a shame. Kansas City gets the ball. Obviously, they're going to score a touchdown, right? But according to the rules that the NFL has right now for overtime, that's it. You're one and done. I think in overtime, You should have both
Each
teams
team should have an
this
opportunity.
ball this one time.
Yep, I agree. I agree, and that happened to a couple teams. Not just the playoffs. Well, not just that game, but that happened a few times. And I agree. I'm like, and then I spoke a little bit earlier about teams that everybody thought had a shot at the Super Bowl but didn't make it. Dallas, was one of those teams that everybody was looking at. Of course, Dak Prescott came back this year and had a great game. He came back. He really looked strong. He really looked good. The team was really starting to rally behind him. Like I've been saying early on, I've said this all season long. Ezekiel Elliott has not really come back strong, not like he was. I don't think he was enough of a factor, but the team overall looked really, really good. So that was one team we thought was going. My favorite team that I thought was going to be was the Cardinals. I definitely thought the Cardinals was going to be in there. They were looking so good. And, when you draft a quarterback number one, that is what they're supposed to look like. I think he was really, really doing an awesome job as well. But those Cardinals, as a friend of mine used to call them, Cardinals. But the Cardinals, yeah, that was a team I thought would make it. Were there any other teams that you thought were going to make it today?
You're not gonna believe this, but during the our WAB sports talk shows throughout the entire season, my co-hosts were looking at me like I was crazy, but I actually picked the Cincinnati Bengals. This is the honest God's truth. I picked the Cincinnati Bengals to be the surprise team of the NFL, and look where they are today.
They're the
You
same
know,
team. They are. But
yeah.
let me tell you now, I wouldn't that wouldn't have been so far fetched to me. Cincinnati has been on a come up. I want to say in the last 3 years. They have really been coming back strong and hard for the last 3 years, and they've been just missing it here, just missing it there. I also think that overtime thing got them too, though.
Yeah, but you know what? During our the WAB Sports Super Bowl preview party, which you're going to be a part of, and we're super excited to have you on our show. I'm going to give you my pick right off the bat. I am going to stick with the Cincinnati Bengals. If this game goes down to a field goal, my money is on Money McPherson. Right now, that the Cincinnati Bengals place kicker in the postseason alone, he is 12 for 12. He's not missed. So if this game gets close, if
Money
it's a field
McPherson.
goal, Money McPherson is going to deliver the goods.
All right, Money McPherson. All right, well we're at odds for that. I'm going on the other direction. You know, I like the Rams. And now let me tell you now, not that I dislike Cincinnati. I was born in Cincinnati. So
Really?
yes. So I've always been I call them the nasty natty. I've always been a fan of the nasty natty. And I'm still a fan. But I just, I just, I've been watching the Rams all year, and the choices that they made and the players that they brought into play. And I love the coach. I just think that he's done a phenomenal job. Odell Beckham Jr. is, of course, one of my players who came from the Giants, who ended up there. So I'm looking forward to seeing some great things out of him. I mean, they just made I think, some good choices in building a team, which I think some of the other teams around the league has to pay attention to. You got to spend the money. You have to build your team. A lot of teams get that one player they want to depend on, and they think that one player is going to win everything, and it's not. And then they get the golden boy, the golden child, and they think the rest of them are just filling spaces, but the golden child is going to win it. No, got to spend some money, got to bring in some players that are going to make some plays in other areas, not just one. Case in point, the number one draft pick last year in the overall pick in the NFL, he didn't fare so good this year.
Yeah, I would agree. Getting on the Rams, yeah, they are a good team. But with the Rams, they kind of remind me of the Patriots, right? They have all those fast receivers, right? And well, actually, even the Chiefs, right? Even the Chiefs. So the Rams kind of remind me of the Chiefs in a way where they got those small, little, quick receivers, right? And Cincinnati showed the rest of the NFL how you can stop teams like that. Look at Kansas City, right? they were picked big to win that game in a championship game. And
Yep.
since they went in there, had a great defensive game plan, unlike Buffalo, plays a prevent defense. You got 13 seconds left in the game, and you're playing a prevent defense. Are you kidding me? So, that's a different conversation for a different day. But Cincinnati showed the rest of the NFL how you can stop teams like Kansas City and the Rams. So here's my prediction, right? If Cincinnati can keep it close in the fourth quarter, if they can just keep, the Rams are going to score. Drew Stafford. I like Drew Stafford. Coming from Detroit Lions and playing on losing teams for so many years, and finally he's on a team.
Not Drew.
Actually, yeah. They actually like him. Yeah. I
was like, no, his name not Drew Stafford. It's Stafford, but not Drew Stafford. But anyway, you're right. No, I agree with you, and that's what it takes, and that's why it's
Matt Stafford.
Thank you, Matt Stafford.
I like call him Drew. I have Drew on the mind right now. I just got out of production.
And then let me tell you, and then you said it, and it absolutely 100% threw me off. I'm like, okay, you just messed up his name so bad I can't even think of his name, but I know it's not Drew.
Like, that's the first time Russell Kaye's ever done that on the sports show, by the way. But Matt Stafford, I do like him though. Playing for Detroit and losing teams for so long. You get traded over to the Rams, and he kind of revives his career, if you will.
Same thing with Odell. Same thing.
Odell too. Once he left the Cleveland Browns, was not happy. He was upset with the targets he was getting. Didn't really get along with the quarterback in Cleveland, and so those are two guys on the Rams, and let's not forget Von Miller either, right?
Von
Miller was out playing on a losing team with the Denver Broncos. You got three guys right there. They're on losing teams, and the situations were all the best. Also, the Rams, they look like superstars now. And but that's the NFL though. Sometimes it takes a guy to leave a team to go somewhere else to revive his career. And that's certainly the case with those three guys we just mentioned.
Yeah.
So I like the Rams. I do. I think they're a great team. And Sean McVay's done a great job coaching them. Without a doubt, they got a great coaching staff. Yeah, but I really think it's I don't know if you know this, Miss Hattie, but 2022 is the year of the Bengals.
Because it's the year of the Bengals. Year of the Tiger.
That's right. It's the year of the Tiger.
I do know that.
I do know that. So
the year of the Tiger.
Cincinnati Bengals is a form of a tiger, correct?
That's right.
So the Cincinnati Bengals, I'm sticking with my pick. The Bengals are going to win this game.
Well, they're already
winners. If it goes to overtime again.
They're already winners. They're in the Super Bowl.
Right.
So they're already, but you're right. That is a very good point that you brought up. It is the Chinese year. Every year the Chinese has a different animal, and this is the year of the tiger. So that's why the Bengals, the tiger, is in the postseason's big game, the big dance, the Super Bowl. So speaking of big games and big dances, I was at the Pro Bowl last week.
So how'd you like that? Was it good?
It was very good. I think we need to take a poll though. Most of the people that I did talk to and even people that just talk to in general, they're saying they don't understand why the NFL doesn't move the Pro Bowl till after the Super Bowl. Because none of the stars ever come out to the Pro Bowl because they're too busy getting ready for the Super Bowl. And they don't want to get hurt at the Pro Bowl and not make it to the Super Bowl. So, and I get it. So I think we should take a poll. You do it on your radio show, and then I'm going to do it and just kind of try to figure it out. What is it that is missing and why are they not getting it, but everyone else is getting it? The Pro Bowl should be the last game of the year, not the Super Bowl.
You think so?
I do.
Well, don't forget, though, the NFL back in the day, they did that where they had the Super Bowl and the Pro Bowl was after the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So NFL did that previously.
Mm-hmm.
And for whatever reasons, maybe they weren't getting the players they wanted to play, and a lot of players that they wanted to play didn't want to play because the season's over. They don't want to get injured, and
We get more of that now. I think because the guys that got selected that will go to the Pro Bowl, they never come I mean, they go to the Super Bowl. They never come to the Pro Bowl.
right.
So I just
I just
think that
yeah.
the Pro Bowl should end the season, not the Super Bowl. I know the Super Bowl is the big dance, and I get that, but I just think that the Pro Bowl should be the end of the season, not the Super Bowl. And yes, I remember they used to do that, and everybody's who fell off think it's still in Hawaii. It's not in Hawaii anymore.
Yeah, I'm surprised though. I mean, when the Pro Bowl was in Hawaii, it was very, very successful. It
Mhm.
was, and maybe it was the cost, and obviously with the pandemic and everything going on right now, sure those are factors that factor into the NFL, switching locations where they're going to have the Pro Bowl.
Mhm.
But I mean, I wish they would bring it back, to
Back to
Hawaii because
Hawaii.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was very successful there. Another thing too with the NFL with the Pro Bowl game, maybe make it more exciting. Maybe do some, change up the game a little bit, make it more exciting. I don't, there's lot more different rules in the Pro Bowl game compared to a regular NFL game. Now I get it. You don't want to get the guys hurt. They're
Yeah.
there to put on a showcase, but there's only so much they can do.
Well,
When
they can do as much as they want. I think they have chosen not to do too much because again,
right,
it is the end of their season. They're done, and nobody wants to get hurt now. Made it through the whole season, I didn't get hurt. So, and I think that that's what's taken away from the game because a lot of people have mentioned that too. There's like, I don't even watch that because it's like fake. I don't watch
mhm,
it. I hate to see that they're not really playing, they're not really tackling, and I'm like, no, that's not all the way true. There is money to be made. There's a trophy to be, distributed. So they're still playing to win. They may not be playing as hard as you normally would see them play, but trust and understand they're trying to win.
right. But yeah, I agree. With the Pro Bowl, maybe switch up a little bit, make it a little bit more exciting, for the fans. Maybe that draws them back and gets their interest back up for the Pro Bowl. But there's a lot of different things that go into that as well. But yeah, I'm on board with you. I would agree. Pro Bowl should be the last game of the year. Have the Super Bowl and then Pro Bowl thereafter, and call it a day at that point.
Yeah, that's what I say. Because, like I said, as it stands right now, every year, the teams that have players that are going to the Super Bowl never come to the Pro Bowl. I
No,
mean, and why
no,
would they? Why would they risk missing the big game? I think if they flipped it around, at least those same players, they go to the big game, they win or they don't win or whatever. And the Pro Bowl is, and I think that that's what's happening. People who love sports or love football go to the Pro Bowl because that's where all the pros are going to be there, and they just want to come there for whatever reason to see the pros. Like I said, I went. It was a beautiful atmosphere, but you can definitely tell that the competition was low.
yeah.
So, and there were a lot of people that are not really, really fond of that. The fact that it's not. Now they had some kids playing, like they had the different age groups got up there and they played flag football. They had some women who played flag football. And
There
it
you go.
yeah. And it was really cool. It was really cool. But when it came down to the real game, it was real light. And people were like, that's why I don't watch this, because it's fake.
Yeah, plus, you look at the Bills quarterback, Josh Allen. He pulled out of the game because, he had said, during the year he got his body was all beat up and he needed time to get away to, kind of, get healed up there
It
and
was a chance to
just to
heal.
relax, get away from the game. And, I don't think people realize, 17 games getting pounded 17 weeks in a row, that takes a toll on someone's body.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to, you just have to walk away, just like what we do, right? We do so much work behind the scenes, and sometimes you just have to get away, right? You have to take a
It
step
was.
back,
Yeah.
smile, take a deep
Mhm.
breath, say, you know what? We're going to live for tomorrow. So, maybe it's a different thing, but the same concept where, they just have to get, those players have to get away and regroup, get their bodies healed up because, especially right now with the NFL, it's more like a 24-month sport now. If you think about it, right, you got the draft, you got free agency, you know, you
Yeah.
got mini cap,
Mini
you got
camp. Yeah.
You got training camp.
Training camp, and
Got
then you back in
you
it,
got
back in it.
season. Then you got the regular season now with an extra game. So I mean, NFL has turned into a 24-month sport because each month, you're talking about something in NFL. You are, and so yeah. I mean, I take my hat off to those guys. I mean, those guys they take a beating on their bodies, and a lot of people say, well, they're spoiled, spoiled rich brats. But you know what? I mean, look at the pounding that they're taking. I mean, those guys are when they get
And
older.
I don't see it that way. I don't see him as being spoiled rich brats. Only broke-minded people feel that way.
Right.
And I say that to them to their faces. They're not spoiled rich people. They've worked hard for that money. They're sacrificing their bodies to please people to watch. It's like, back in the day, the games were just so, the do or the die games. They work hard for their money.
They
So
do.
call them, just spoiled rich guys. Nah. I totally 100% disagree with that. I believe they've earned their money. And like you're saying with Mac Jones and a lot of these other guys who need the off season just so their bodies can heal. So I want to talk about, two more things. First of all, what are your thoughts about Tom Brady retiring? And do you think he's really retired?
That's a very interesting story, is it not? I mean, he just recently, after 22 years, think about this, right? It's 2022. He retires in 2022.
Hmm.
And now he's, after he's retired, now he's saying, well, don't really totally shut the door on me because, with the right opportunity, I might come back again.
I think he loves playing with them. He likes playing with the media. And that was the other thing. At the Pro Bowl, I didn't see him, but I saw a lot of his jerseys there.
Yeah. I mean, for
I
me,
saw Tom Brady jerseys everywhere at the Pro Bowl.
I think it's time for him though. He's 45 years old, and he's had a great year. What more does that
Hey,
guy
what,
got to prove? He's won 7 Super Bowls, many Pro Bowl trips.
22
He's,
seasons.
I mean, he's definitely a lock in the Hall of Fame. Yeah,
Yeah,
wait your 5 years, and then he's definitely a lock in.
the
I
GOAT.
mean, what more does he got to prove? And so, I mean,
He had
I
anything
think
to
it's a great
prove
time for
last
him to walk
year.
away.
I didn't think he had anything to prove last year. I personally thought he should have walked away last year, a winner.
Right,
He did what he said he was going to do. He left that team. He went to a whole new team. He helped to develop a winning team. They won. I thought he was going to be done then.
right. But I mean, like him or hate him, Tom Brady, I tip my hat to him. I mean, he's played the quarterback position at a very high level. Hopefully, the people, the young quarterbacks right now in the NFL can look up to him
Mm.
and maybe, reach out to him and find out what's worked for him and what made him so successful. You have a lot of good young quarterbacks in the NFL right now, especially the
Out of
AFC.
time.
They are loaded, and hopefully, those young guys can take a page out of Tom Brady. But I think
No,
he
I'm sorry,
great.
but I beg to differ. The quarterbacks I'm seeing now, I told them they come from the school of Michael Vick.
There you go. I know you're a big Michael Vick
You
fan.
know I love Michael Vick. You know I
I
love Michael.
know.
But the quarterbacks that I'm seeing come out today, to me, they come from the school of Michael Vick. Kyler Murray and a lot of those guys, they come straight from out of the school of Michael Vick. And I love that. I love that. Tom Brady, of course, he's a great quarterback, and they call him the GOAT because of all the time and effort he's put into the game. And he's undeniably a great quarterback. But the pass and the run game and blah, blah, that's a Michael Vick thing right there. That's not a Tom Brady thing. Passing, in the pocket, but then he gets all the protection that he needs too most of the time. Although I want to say this year he got hit quite a few times. I think that's another thing that made the decision for him to take a leave. He got hit quite a few times, and 45 is not the age to start getting hit. He got popped in the mouth, lip was bleeding. I'm like, no, y'all
Yeah.
messing up Gazelle's face there. we don't do this like Muhammad Ali. And I made lost, but I'm still pretty. So you messing up Tom Brady's face because the women love to look at Tom Brady. So no, we don't have that. So let me tell you, Oscar is saying that Mac Jones roll tide, baby. Yep, roll tide,
I love it. I
definitely
love it.
roll tide.
Yeah.
And then Oscar always says that it's a chance to showcase different content and different influencers. Call it something other than the Pro Bowl. Try that. Uh, might be cool, might be cool bowl. I don't know. I'm not sure, but I feel you, Oscar. But it is the Pro Bowl. It is where all the pros from the best players from all the teams come out, but they just don't play like that. And I think that that's the thing that's missing from a lot of people. All right, so that was Tom Brady. My next one, I want to know, what are your thoughts on the Brian Flores situation? I know we talked about it briefly, but win or draw. What are your thoughts about the allegations? Do you think it's a possibility? And do you think he'll ever coach in the NFL again?
That's a very interesting point. And according to our reports from WAB Sports, I want to salute this guy, man. And people watching right now that will be watching probably think I'm crazy by saying that, but I'm not. I salute him for standing up because, as we talked about earlier in the show, the NFL needs to look at diversity, and there's no diversity in the NFL right now. Let's just be honest. There's a lot of great black coaches. Look at Eric Bieniemy at Kansas City, right? That guy should have been a head coach a long time ago. He's still on the sidelines waiting for his opportunity. Look what the Houston Texans did. Yeah, look what the Houston Texans did, right? They hire a blast from the past. The only reason why they did that is because of all the heat right now the NFL's taking over the diversity issue, right? I mean, a lot of these black coaches are very well qualified.
Exactly. And all he did, Brian Flores, is he brought it to the limelight. A lot of people may not have paid attention. And even right now to today, there's only four coaches of color right now in an entire league. Just four. So all he did was of course, amongst the allegations and bringing that, to the light, telling people about some of those things. But at the same time, when you step back and you look again, and then, like I said, Houston bringing back Lovie Smith. I mean, I was like, oh man, I forgot about Lovie. When you think about it. And then they were talking about bringing Tony Dungy out of retirement. I'm like, there are a lot of young guys out here that can make it happen. Leave Tony Dungy where he at. I feel bad when I watch the coach for Alabama running up and down the sidelines trying to keep up with them young guys. No, you're right. Those guys are a blast from the past. But Lovey he still looks good, and of course we're going to be rooting for him. Then you've got the Steelers coach. Then they were always already saying whether he's going to keep his job or not. And then Ben Roethlisberger said he's retiring. But so altogether, there's only four coaches of him. Only four.
Now, as far as him, Brian Flores getting coach again, here's my concern. I applaud what he's doing because he's bringing to attention, bringing to the light, if you will, area opportunity in the NFL. Just like we talk about the overtime rule, right? That's something that needs to be looked at as well. Mm-hmm. But it kind of scares me with the Colin Kaepernick thing, where he was kneeling.
I think that's exactly what's going to happen to him.
Yeah, and I mean, he's such a great coach, and to see potentially his career end over sticking up for something that the NFL should have took care of a long time ago. Yeah, and the NFL has a way of punishing people who bring areas of opportunity to them, right?
Yeah.
Hey, look at this. We need to look at this. Maybe you need to do something differently here. And when they do that, that person actually gets punished. So Colin Kaepernick, he's a great quarterback. He should have been playing. But there's no team now that's going to even touch him because of what happened.
No, he's done.
It's going to happen with Brian Flores, right?
But I think he may end up with college. Maybe he'll end up with a college.
I don't know. I mean, I understand college NFL is like night and day, right?
Mm-hmm.
But, right now, he caused a big storm in the NFL. I mean, let's be honest, right? Brian Flores created a thunderstorm.
Big
yeah. So those clouds move away, if you will. But to answer your question, will he coach in the NFL again? I don't think so. From the sources we spoke to and everything that we know,
Mhm.
I mean, I don't think he'll ever coach in the NFL, and that's sad. It's absolutely sad. Here's a guy we talked about earlier in the show. Here's a guy that almost took the Miami Dolphins, who was a really bad team, and they fell one game short of reaching a wild card spot in the AFC.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's sad. But to answer your question, I don't think he'll coach in the NFL.
All right. My next question, Antonio Brown. Another highlight for the NFL and another eye-opening situation. What are your thoughts on the whole Antonio Brown situation? Now, of course, he was made out to look like a crazy person and a nut and this and that when he took off his shirt and wouldn't go back in the game. But anybody with any sense that knows that there's a background going on somewhere. I'm like, somebody said something, somebody did something. He did just not just act a fool and just do that for no reason. Then I heard stories that he was 6 catches short of $1 million bonus. And when they pulled him out of the game, and then he realized he wasn't going to make it, he was already playing hurt. And then I also heard allegations that the coach, when he refused to go back in, because at this point now he knows he's not going to make the $1 million bonus. Now you want to just go throw me in last minute for what? And he's like, no, that's okay. Just put somebody else in. I'm hurt. I was willing to sacrifice myself to make to help us go to the go further, and also to help my team out, but also because I had a $1 million bonus on the line. But once all of that was out the window, I had no reason to go back in. So then he refused to go back in, and I'm hearing, and I don't know if you've heard, that the coach said some really derogatory things. You know what? You suck anyway. I don't even know why they ever brought you here. And then there was some other things that were being said that we didn't hear on national TV. We just saw him take the jersey off and throw it away. What are your thoughts on that situation?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers dropped the ball in that situation, in my honest opinion. Antonio Brown was playing great, right?
Mhm.
And he had a great year. He was playing. Yes, he was hurt. And I heard the reports here are the same reports that we've heard.
Mhm.
And another thing, Bruce Arians goes up to him and goes up like this to him. If
Mhm.
you're a player in an NFL, if you're hurt, you have your head coach come to you like this. How does it make you feel, right?
Exactly. And you're a man. You know what I'm
And you're a
saying?
man,
You ain't coaching college kids. That's a grown man.
right?
He's
I
lucky
think
if
Tampa,
it's
yeah,
one of
Tampa
the
Bay,
linebackers, he might have gotten knocked out or tossed on his head.
right? I think Tampa Bay could have handled that situation differently.
Mhm.
It's embarrassing to the NFL. When you see something like that happen, you have a grown man, a professional athlete,
Mhm.
taking his pads off. I don't. In all the years I've watched and covered sports,
Never seen
I
it.
don't think that I've ever seen that before. I don't
Nope.
think I have.
And
And
what
when
that
I
said
saw,
to
I was actually
me
watching
is,
that game, by the way, too.
listen, what
And
that
when I
said to me
saw
is
that,
he was done. He was done. They didn't have to fire him. He quit right then, right there.
exactly, I just think that Tampa Bay could have handled it differently. Bruce Arians could have handled that differently. Okay, if he's not in the plans for you, if you're telling him that you're not going to give him the targets to reach his $1 million, which I mean, every player should have an opportunity, and if that's in the contract. You're saying, well, hey, if you reach so many catches, we're going to give you $1 million. Well, if that's the case, we'll give him an opportunity to do that. Tampa Bay was not going to give him that opportunity. And oh, by the way, Rob Gronkowski got his targets. And oh, by the way, he got his $1 million.
His
Why
bonus.
not Antonio Brown?
Exactly.
I mean, I don't understand. Help me with that one.
And then they this is another thing they did. They said he lied. He wasn't injured. But then there's a report from his doctor that he went into the hospital the very next day for surgery.
Right.
If he wasn't injured, then what are we having surgery for?
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
know?
Tampa Bay dropped the ball, and and they covered it up nicely. They got they kind of like put out that fire pretty quickly, because obviously that's definitely a fire they didn't want to expand, because it could have got ugly. But nevertheless, though, I think that Antonio Brown will catch on with someone in 2022. I think a team's is going to take a chance on him. He's such a great athlete. He's a great wide receiver. He can definitely, I mean, look at last year. He certainly played a major role in Tampa Bay winning that Super Bowl.
Yeah,
He showed up big
they
in that
brought him in
game.
last minute, and he showed up and showed out. Yeah,
Exactly. You take away Antonio Brown, and Tampa Bay is not winning the Super Bowl last year. They're not winning that game.
yeah,
Obviously, there's more things that were involved in that game. But it wouldn't surprise me, and I'm pulling for Antonio Brown. I know he's been through a lot. A lot of it maybe was his fault. Some of it was not. But nevertheless, though, we all make mistakes. We're not perfect. And, if you learn from your mistakes, and if you're willing to be a better person, not make that mistake again,
hmm
I think you do deserve another chance. And a lot of people out there are probably saying, well, hey, wait a minute. This guy's gotten like a zillion chances, and in every place he's went to, he keeps on screwing up. That's true. That's a point that cannot be argued.
but
But
also an undeniable talent.
exactly.
He's an undeniable talent. Well, let me see. Oscar threw in a couple of comments. Oscar says, I want to see Mike Singletary back in the sidelines. True. It's another
Mhm.
great coach that's not working. And Tampa Bay is going to suffer a bit. AB gone. Make them make them cry. And then he says the prediction: black coaching talent will be spotlighted and celebrated in the HBCU makers. Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, Mike Singletary, we forgot about him. There are a lot. There are quite a few of them that were available but not selected at all. Now I'm still mad at the Falcons. I'm going to say that because the Falcons had the interim coach that they threw in there last year after they fired the head coach, who I thought was a good guy. Then they threw in one of the assistant coaches and made him the interim coach. And then they get rid of both of them and they bring in some guy from a losing team, is what I was told. It was like, and that's what one of my Atlanta Falcons fans said. They got rid of, two good coaches. The head coach was a good coach dealing with a bad hand, and the assistant coach was a good coach doing his job. Both of them went on to do great things this year. One of them was on the sidelines with Dallas, and the other one will be on the sidelines at the Super Bowl. So you see what happens, you know. And this is what I always try to tell my grandson. He probably really felt bad that they let him go, but they sent him into a better situation. But then again, sometimes maybe he was ready to go. Sometimes some of these situations that they get into, maybe he was ready to go. So,
Yeah, that's a good point.
but both of them ended up on winning teams as the Falcons remained a losing team. Both of them ended up doing much better where they went versus where they stayed.
I agree. That's a great point, and yeah, definitely, I agree with you on that one.
All right, so let me see. We did Antonio Brown, we did Brian Flores. What do you think about Cam Newton coming back to Carolina?
Well, that's just a 1 year wonder. He's not coming back this year. I think they're going to get rid of him.
You think they let him go
I
again?
mean, Carolina, they had so many issues at the quarterback position. You give up a ton, to get Sam Darnold, comes in, gets injured, never really gets acclimated with the Panthers offense.
No,
Never
no.
had an opportunity to get acclimated and really get up to speed, if you will. So, Cam, you know, it'll be interesting to see where he goes next, but he's definitely not coming back to
You
Carolina.
don't think they'll keep him around until they can either get their quarterback up and going or groom a new quarterback? I was just thinking about that. I just wondered how, like you said, how they're going to manage that.
They just signed PJ Walker. Here's a guy who's a backup quarterback, right? And once the regular season ended, the Carolina Panthers re-signed PJ Walker. And in another thing too, you know, your coach is on the hot seat right now. And this year coming up, it's a make or break year for Matt Rule,
Mhm.
and he's gonna have to deliver and deliver big. Because if Carolina, I can tell you right on this show tonight, if Matt Rule does not deliver, and if Carolina struggles getting out of the gate in 2022, Carolina is going to make a change immediately. They're going to
Mhm.
fire him. They're going to fire him. This guy won't even make it to the end of the regular season. I mean, back to back 5-10 seasons or whatever the record was, back to back 5-win seasons, right? And that in today's NFL, that doesn't cut it. So
Well, same thing with the Atlanta Falcons and their coach. Um, they didn't look so great this year. They only had one or two bright spots. You had Calvin Ridley, who was their bright spot as far as receivers was concerned, but he took a leave. He took a leave for mental health reasons, and now, that I'm hearing from the rumor mill is that he just doesn't even want to come back to the Falcons. But he left the team, for some mental health issues that he said he needed to deal with, and now he doesn't want to come back. And that coach, we'll see what happens because they just really just never turned it around this year either.
right. So we'll find out where Cam Newton ends up. But I think if he lands on with another NFL team, he'd probably be in a backup role. And I know that Cam Newton does not want to be a backup. He wants to play.
Yeah.
But I think he's past his prime right now, and I
Mhm.
think he's more of a mentor to a younger quarterback that a team may draft.
And that's
So
what I was saying earlier. Don't you think they want to keep him one more year until they can get a young, strong quarterback inundated? That's what I was saying earlier. I mean, why send him and let him go train somewhere else? Let him stay and play it out there and see what happens.
But here's the thing, though. Cam Newton does not want to be a mentor, and he does not want to be a backup. He wants to play. He still feels he's got enough gas in the tank that he can still play. And so that's the issue. So it's not so much of him being a mentor or being a backup. That's not what he wants to do at this point in time in his career. He wants to play.
I mean, I get it. I understand.
Yeah.
Do you have any other issues? Anything? I just wanted to kind of cover the NFL because we're coming down to the end of the season. We got the big game coming up on Sunday, and we've made our predictions on who's going to win and who's going to lose. And we've talked about the coaches. Any other topics for the NFL that you want to cover before we close out tonight?
Let's talk about the overtime rule. What do you think about it?
Let's give everybody a clear explanation of what it is right now.
All right. So right now in the NFL, the overtime rule is this. All right. Whoever wins a coin toss gets possession of the ball.
First.
Okay. Right. Now, the team who gets the ball first in overtime, if they score a touchdown or a safety,
Mm-hmm.
the game's over.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Now, if the team who gets the ball first goes down the field and kicks the field goal, then at that point, the other team has an opportunity to either match the field goal or win the game with a touchdown. My thinking is this, right?
Okay.
Regardless of if the first team scores a touchdown or whatever, then the second team has the opportunity either to match that or, David Florio, who's a co-host on our WAB Sports show,
Mm-hmm.
he came up with a really interesting point. He said, why don't the NFL look at this? So say the team who wins the coin toss goes on the field and they score a touchdown. Then the other team would have to score a touchdown and convert a 2-point conversion. If they don't convert the 2-point conversion, game over. And I like that. I think that's fair. I think
So they still have an opportunity to win it. And that would make sense. Like instead, okay, now what happens if they don't convert? Then they lose the game.
right. But at least they had the possession, though. They had
did
a possession to do something. Another thing the NFL can look at is both teams get one possession, right? And start maybe at the 35-yard line.
Mm-hmm.
And and then you got like 4 downs to score a touchdown from the 35. If you don't, then 4th down, you decide if you want to kick a field goal or go for the touchdown.
Okay.
Regardless, then the other team gets an opportunity. Starts off at the 35. Same scenario, right? You either kick the field goal and then you have to go for a 2-point conversion to win the game.
Mhm.
So maybe something like that. And I think, that Buffalo Kansas City game really opened up a lot of eyes and really showed the NFL that the way that the current overtime rules are now is
Mhm.
something that they really need to look at that.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. Like I said, a couple of the upsets of the season were caused because of that rule. So I
Right,
really agree with you that is something that they should take a look at because it caused major upsets in the league. Teams that we thought were going to go somewhere ended up not going because of that rule. So I agree with
right.
you. I agree. I agree. I agree. Well, Russell, it's always good. It's always a pleasure talking to you. We always manage to cover a lot of good stuff, and I love that. We've got Cleo online, and we've got, of course, Oscar Jones. I'm my number one fan, Oscar Jones. Good to see you. And but I want to, again, say to you that some of the things we covered today, that's why I said explain the rule because we're complaining about it. We know about it, and I didn't want us to jump into a conversation about it, and someone watching don't even know what the problem is. so,
Right,
so that's what's like.
right,
First of all, let's explain the rule. Like I said, I agree with you 100%. I just don't think that's a good rule. There's still and in the diversity situation, yes, of course, Roger Goodell, he knew he was going to be hit with that question today. So yes, he definitely had to come up and say something. And he just said, yeah, I see some areas where we can work in it and blah, blah, blah. He can't make any owner hire a black coach. I mean, I get it. But what we want to know and make sure is the black coaches are at least getting the same opportunities. And then from
right.
what I knew about Brian Flores and what he said is the New York Giants called him up there to interview. They One of them didn't show up, the one that did show up late, and they had already hired somebody.
Yeah, you're talking about John Elway in
Yeah,
Denver,
yeah.
and reports are that Brian Flores had a interview with the
Mhm,
Denver Broncos. He shows up. John Elway, comes in like a few hours late, and
mhm,
he was hungover.
mhm,
And then in the media, he says he wasn't. Those reports are false. That he had to take an overnight flight to get back to do the interview with Brian Flores,
mhm.
and that he wasn't drunk. He was just tired
Yeah.
because of the lack of sleep. And
Mhm.
so, but still though, how, maybe you reschedule that then. If you're taking an overnight flight, if you're tired, if if you're not all there, give the guy an equal opportunity. And and John always thinks, well, yeah, we did give him, even though we went through all that, we gave him an equal opportunity, but maybe you reschedule and make sure you're refreshed, he's refreshed, and he gets a fair, as you're speaking to, he gets a fair opportunity to try to get that job.
Right. But I think though in one case he said that they had already hired the other person before the interview, before like he flew there for an interview. He wasted his time coming there because they had already hired who they were going to hire. I
Yeah, the
think
NFL needs to look at the Rooney Rule. That the Rooney Rule, I mean, just throw that rule out the window right now. The
yeah,
NFL needs to look at the Rooney Rule. They need to rework that. They need to make it fair, make
yeah,
it an even playing field for everyone.
yeah,
You know, and
yeah.
if they're able to get to that point, we're probably not going to have this conversation again. Only maybe talk about, wow, what a great hire, X, Y, and Z just made. So but
Yeah.
they need to throw out the Rooney Rule. They need to look at that and make it fair for everyone.
Well, fair is all that we ask. Well, once again, Russell, I want to thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Thank you to all of the Ladies in the Locker Room fans. Thank you guys for logging in, for listening, for checking us out. We'll be back next week. We'll be talking about the Super Bowl and also we'll be getting ready for All Star Weekend. Before we go into the end of the show, what are you looking for to see at All Star Weekend? Anybody special in the dunk contest? The 3-point shooting contest. Who are some of your winners in that?
Oh gosh, I love Steph Curry.
Steph Curry's won a couple years.
I I'm a big fan of Steph Curry, man. That guy he's amazing. So my money is on Steph Curry. He's gonna deliver again. I've always loved that guy.
For the 3-point shot. Oh,
Yes.
I want to
He's
see
the
some.
master of the 3 points.
I want to see
On
some
the
of these
line,
guys.
you,
Yeah.
Steph Curry will deliver.
All right, we're gonna see. I don't know everyone that he's competing against yet, but that was that's always a big highlight. But I love to see the young guys in the slam dunk contest too. So we'll see. Again, thank you, Russell. Thank you guys for logging in. We'll see you next Wednesday night, and we'll be talking about who won. Russell, you want to join me next Wednesday night and at 8:30 again, and just come on and just talk about who
I
won.
figure you're gonna be on my show you're gonna be on my Super Bowl Sunday show. So
Sunday.
you'll be on Sunday, and then after the game, I'll come back. We'll talk again. So yeah, I'd love to be with you.
I'd love for us to have that conversation, and then we'll fight. And ladies and gentlemen, you guys will figure out who won between me and Russell. Did his Cincinnati Bengals won?
The year of the Bengals.
The year of the Bengals. We'll see what's happening. Again, thank you all for logging in. Russell, thank you so much for logging in. We will see you guys next week. Good night.